Radical.
The end is near for Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Because, you see, Shannon Sharpe, to no surprise to people like myself, to no shock to people like myself, is leaving the show. He's leaving Skip Bayless, leaving him high and dry, leaving him hanging like he did that one time he didn't show up for work after Skip Bayless's Damar Hamlin tweets. I'm not sure what all we'll get into right now. I should have actually taken notes because there's a lot of different things to really cover here on this story. So some of you might have heard past couple days the breaking news that Shannon Sharpe is actually leaving Undisputed. Will the show go on? I'll get into that after I basically just go over. I should have had notes. I should have had like a list of things in the order because there's a lot to go into here. So I hope we get it all covered. The main story is Shannon Sharpe, after their coverage of the NBA Finals, is leaving Undisputed. It's the main story there. I don't know exactly when. It doesn't have a set date here from what I'm reading. Just generally sometime after their coverage of the NBA Finals. They'll probably have a big send-off show, maybe like a lot of clips. I'm not sure really what they'll do. But Shannon has been professional, and he'll show up to work. And I think it gets to a point to where if you're Shannon Sharpe, you say, listen, I can't show up to work anymore with this particular guy that has straight up disrespected me on several different occasions. There was one specific moment that marked the end of this show, I think, and I covered it months back. It was when they were debating Tom Brady, and Skip Bayless went a little bit too far. If you're curious about why Shannon is leaving the show, this is one of the two main reasons. It's the disrespect. They were having a debate over Tom Brady. I don't remember the exact words that were said, but somewhere along the line of this, Skip Bayless was talking about and comparing Shannon Sharpe to Tom Brady, saying, listen, here's the deal. You criticize Tom Brady so much because you're just jealous of him because at 45, he's still playing at a high level, questionable. He's still playing at a high level, and you had to retire at 35, and you're just jealous of him. And then that was the moment Shannon just took his glasses off, and he was like, what the fuck did you say to me? Skip made it personal. It was no longer, just debating the players, but Skip pointed, at him like, you're just jealous of Tom Brady. That's why you hate on him so much. That's why you criticize him so much. Because you're just jealous that you'll never be as good, as great as Tom Brady. Then Shannon was like, you talking to me like I'm a fucking bum. And he didn't say fuck, but he said F, and he's like, I'm in that effing Hall of Fame. 3-time Super Bowl champion. That's who you're talking to. And then later on, I think he might have said who are you? What have you done? That's a problem with Skip. Skip is very disrespectful to a lot of these athletes, yet Skip Bayless is not a 3-time Hall of Famer. He's never been to a fucking Super Bowl. That's the thing. If you're going to disrespect somebody, if you're going to say they're jealous of Tom Brady, maybe, just maybe, possibly, you have a background to actually stand on. There was one time Skip Bayless was called Water Pistol Pete by somebody. I think it might have been Jalen Rose, former basketball player, and he didn't really appreciate that. That's kind of funny. Water Pistol Pete. But no, in that moment, Shannon took off his glasses, and he just kind of said, you just go on. Just do whatever you're going to do. At that point, he was done with Skip Bayless, both on the show, but I think their friendship, whatever friendship they had, even if maybe they were cordial after that, let me tell you when friendships end. When you go over the line and you have that line stepping moment. Remember on the Chappelle show? That one skit where he's like, fucker, you a habitual line stepper. You don't go over certain lines. You don't cross certain lines without actually damaging a friendship. Any relationships you have, business, personal, you don't go over the line. But Skip Bayless regularly just cannot fucking control himself, and he goes over the line and he disrespects people. Shannon's not the only person he's disrespected like that. He's a very disrespectful person is what I'm saying. But after that, there was another moment. It was the Damar Hamlin tweet. And this was probably, if Shannon hadn't decided fully to leave, if there was any doubt, after this is the moment where Shannon just didn't show up to work and he was done with Skip. Because Shannon took it personal because he's a former football player. When Damar Hamlin went down and none of us knew whether or not he would actually just die on the field. We didn't know. His heart stopped. We didn't know what was going to happen. Thankfully, he's still alive, but none of us knew. So, who has to tweet but motherfucking Skip Bayless about that situation? I mean, tweeting about that situation while it's happening is one thing because you're trying to draw attention to yourself. But even if you do, just some simple like prayers for Damar. Some simple like that. Some simple. Prayers for Damar. That's all you got to tweet, man. But no, he's talking about, I don't have the exact tweet in front of me, but you remember he was talking about how, like, with this happening, he ended it not so bad because he said, how can they think about anything right now when you're in this moment? I wish I had the tweet in front of me. But essentially, he basically said, with a late game situation like this in the NFL, how could you ever think about stopping this game? Or I'm sorry, I wish I had the tweet in front of me. But it was basically talking about debating whether or not they would stop the game because of the important late season implications for the standings. Postponing the game. That's what it was about. Talking about how could they postpone the game, but of course you have to. Basically, it was a kind of contradictory tweet debating things. One of those slimy, Weasley tweets to where he's like, okay, if I get some slack for this, I can defend it and say, it ended me saying, of course, how could you even consider it? But I don't know what the fuck he was thinking in the moment. None of us knew what he was thinking in the moment. And that was the moment that I thought wrongly, he actually might be fired in that moment. I was wrong on that, but if they fired him for that tweet, it would be justified. Because you're not supposed to tweet some shit like that when someone's life is hanging in the balance. But it was very cold, and it seemed like Skip didn't care about the life of this player versus the outcome of the game. Fuck the game. If you're in a situation, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, and someone is on the ground and you don't know, it may be a super serious concussion, you don't know if their heart stopped, you don't know what's going on, they might not even be breathing. Fuck the standings, fuck sports, fuck all of it. The only thing that's important is bringing back to life or sustaining the life of that individual. There's also an instance to where he was talking about Dak Prescott. And Skip Bayless is big on the Cowboys. He was talking about how Dak Prescott was actually weak, I think, for not showing up maybe. Because I think he lost some members of his family, I believe. And that is just cold. That is cold. Talking about how cold Skip Bayless is, there's actually audio of him talking about his current wife and how one thing he had to explain to his wife was she is number 2 behind his work. That's fucking cold right there. You're saying like, okay, honey, you're number 2. Everything I do here, this is number 1. You're just number 2. I don't see if you hear that, you would just straight divorce the fucker and say, oh, okay, I see how it is. Skip Bayless doesn't have any kids. He doesn't have any kids. Maybe that's a good thing because I don't know if Skip Bayless would be like a good father figure because he wouldn't even be there for his kids. But I'm going to move back into this story. So that's what's going on. Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe no more. And like I said, near the end of the NBA Finals, maybe they might go a little longer than that is when the show officially is going to, well, not end because Skip Bayless hasn't announced that he's ending the show. That's the weird thing. You might think, how can they carry on Undisputed, which has been known for years as Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe? So Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe, like I said, they're going to be ending their partnership after the NBA playoffs. Now, the big question here is, amongst several questions, is what happens with the show? Undisputed has been synonymous as Skip and Shannon. So what do? You move on with the show? I mean, who do you find that can replace Shannon Sharpe? There's certain people out there that they're just, I'm not going to say he's irreplaceable, but in that particular spot, if you put anybody else there, that's going to be a big time adjustment. I mean, some people have floated the idea of maybe another ex-NFL star. Yeah, I mean, you could find another ex-NFL player, but who's going to have the charisma of a Shannon Sharpe? Tom Brady? Does Tom Brady have a lot of charisma? I know he signed up there, right? So maybe that's part of the idea. Maybe Skip wants to, that would be his wet dream. Oh my goodness. He would be fawning over Tom Brady. Let's just talk about today how great you are. And he would lean forward and then his hands would be on his chin. You have such dreamy eyes, Tom Brady. That's be the whole show. So if they're going to continue with a debate format, which giving Skip his credit, he actually brought that sports debate format to another level. So if Shannon, I would say, like I said, he's not 100% irreplaceable. You can replace him, but it just wouldn't feel right. Instantly, it wouldn't feel right. A lot of people would say, okay, you're just trying to replace him. I guess you have to if you want to go on with the show. Do you find a person that maybe is working there and just promote? I know a lot of businesses, a lot of corporations, they promote from inside. All right. They do have some talented people on their staff there in sports commentary. They got, Colin Cowherd. They got Nick Wright. They have, there's a 3-man show. It's Drew and then another guy, I forget his name, and then Nick Wright. That one's actually pretty entertaining, but the format is completely different. I guess you need somebody that's hard-nosed, that's going to debate with Skip, a great debater. What about that one show, Speak for Yourself? There's Acho and then that other big, was he an ex-NFL player? He's a strong, big, bald, black guy. I mean, that might work. Just slot in him there? No. I mean, what do you really do? Like, it puts the show in a weird situation of transition. Now, some people have actually hinted that maybe Skip Bayless is getting older. He might retire. I don't see that. I definitely don't see that. Maybe he'll move on to something else. Maybe there won't be any Undisputed show. I'm not sure what he's going to do. When it comes to Shannon, though, Shannon has many, many different offers lined up. There's ESPN. Stephen A. Smith has all but basically extended the olive branch for him to come over to ESPN. What a pickup that would be. He's got his own thing going on with Club Shay Shay, YouTube channel. I haven't checked out it before, but I heard it's really good, so I might check that out to follow him. He's not going to stop. He's going to continue doing things. And when you're in his position, when you're a charismatic commentator, when you're an ex-NFL star, he's just great at what he does. So, and he has that legitimacy of actually being a Hall of Famer, 3-time Super Bowl champion. So the sky's the limit for this guy. I mean, the one you should worry about really would be Skip, because how many people would drop checking Skip out because they're just angry because, like I said, Shannon left him. He'll still have an audience, but there's so many people that I've read in the comment section up under their newest uploads, like, this show is just going to be trash without Shannon, so why am I going to tune in? That one time Shannon didn't show up where he was kind of left hanging, Skip was running the show himself, that was just terrible. So for Skip to be successful, he needs someone to bounce off of. He needs to debate. Whereas Shannon doesn't need that format to be successful and to be entertaining.